Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken can take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars and the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Question in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mud. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploding like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, their foes can't fight. From sports to politics.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good morning. Welcome to a Victory Monday. Good morning, Fred. How are you doing today? You got a big game tonight? So, yeah, we had another weekend of football, man. Some good stuff.
Oh, yeah. I'm quite happy about my game. You're quite happy about your game. The Vikings are quite sad about their game. I think everything worked out relatively well.
Hey, who's in last place in NFC North right now?
Man, I think it's this weird team known as the Bye Queens.
Oh my goodness, not the Saints. Oh, or not the Saints. Not the Vikings. No.
Hey, happy Victory Monday, Dub.
Hey, Dub. And how about them boys yesterday, huh?
I didn't get to see what the final score of that one was.
It was an ugly game, and I feel sorry for the Redskins commander or the Redskins commanders, what do you want to call them? Yeah, they got drubbed, and they lost Jaden Daniels. Looks like he hurt his hamstring.
Did you happen to see the Giants' epic meltdown of handing their game away?
Yes, that game was ridiculous.
How do you go from 20-0 to losing?
Rookie quarterback.
It was not even the quarterback's fault in any way, shape, or form. It was the moron that they have for a place kicker. If that sumbitch doesn't miss those 2 extra points, they win.
That's where I'm happy right now that the Bears have Jake Moody on the roster, right? Because we have Moody.
Amen, Ken. Freaking men. We actually have a kicker who can hit some 55-yarders. Amen.
Well,
not even 55, 50. You know what I mean? We 48 yards even. Like, you know.
That's what I'm saying with Broski. He hasn't had to hit anything, I don't think, above 48 yet. So.
Oh, I know. But, dude, when he's kicking these field goals, I mean, he's making these. He's clearing these field goals by yards, by a lot. You know what I mean? You could just tell his leg's way stronger. So far, so good with the Moody experiment, you know? So far, not so good with the J.J. McCarthy experiment, though. You know, all these loudmouth, fat mouth, squealy Vikings fans acting like he was just pencil him in. He's going to be a star right away. Oh, we're so good. KOC, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you guys still don't have a quarterback. 4 years in, you still don't have a quarterback.
It was Ginger Jesus Part 2 yesterday that lost to his former team. So, I mean, yeah, JJ, the big rub on him is they got to keep him healthy.
Delicate JJ. That's what I call him. Delicate JJ.
Yeah, they can't keep the kid healthy. I mean.
And Broski, I got to give you the major props here because holy shit, Jacoby Brissett looked a hell of a lot better than Murray.
Yeah. And you know, I do like this about the NFL this season. It even started to an extent last season. So like all these quarterbacks that are like, people were like, you know, like Flacco, oh, he sucks. You know, the defense carried him to a Super Bowl and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, Joe Flacco 10 years later is rolling off the couch and suiting up for the Browns and throwing for 300-yard games, on a whim. And then he gets traded to another team and he's doing the same thing. And it's like, you got a guy like Jacoby Brissett. Most people thought maybe he's a good backup at best, but a lot of people are just like, he sucks. He's been in the league too long. Well, guess what? He knows how to play football. These young quarterbacks, there's some kind of disconnect with what's going on with them. And the thing is, and I know the answer. I actually have the answer. They're getting thrown into the fire way too soon.
Well, they're not just that, but it's like the Kurt Warner effect. Like, if you look at Kurt Warner, circa the greatest show on turf, was he a great quarterback? No. But you look at him by the end of his career, after he's logged experience and miles and been there, done that, seen that, got the hat, T-shirt, and valet ticket, and all of a sudden he's a great quarterback by the time he's in Arizona.
Well,
there's something to be said about now, about gaining football knowledge, and a guy like Flacco, where his problem came this year was, like I was saying earlier, his body betraying his mind. Well, now he's figured out, okay, mind, here's what the body can now do, adjust. And he's made those adjustments.
Right, which plays into like my main points. Like, I don't care what anyone says, and I don't care how many times it's been done versus how many times it hasn't. It is a much better approach, even if the guy's the first overall pick, even if he's the second pick, third pick, quarterback. Yep. Do not throw. I don't care what anyone says. Do not throw him out there week one, like of his rookie season. Don't do it. Like, let him sit. Let him sit. And people will be like, yeah, well, you can let him sit 8 games, 9 games, and then kind of ease them in. And you know what? Sometimes that works.
Let me ask you the question, though.
I'm sitting him the whole rookie year.
Would you have sat Caleb behind Justin Fields for a year? Would that have been beneficial?
Yeah, Justin Fields, I just, he's like a tumor they had to get rid of. Like, but if you were to tell me, like, if they got let's just say they had a different veteran, like, you know what I mean? Like, let's say they signed Joe Flacco or something like that, or they signed, like, whoever. Like, yes, my answer to that would be, okay, so we'll even use Fields here. If he was there, I would, well, Fields is just an anomaly because you're not even learning anything from Fields because he's never even gotten better. He's the same guy he was as a rookie. But in theory, like, would I want Caleb to sit behind a veteran, even though he was the first overall pick in the draft and there was all this hype and hoopla? Yes, absolutely. Yes.
See, Broski, now you've joined my train. Because I've been saying this for 2 years on this show, or the year and a half we've been doing this show, it used to be that way.
Yeah.
It didn't matter where you were drafted in the first round. You sat. Oh, your name is Brett Favre. Go have a seat. Oh, your name is Aaron Rodgers. Go have a seat.
Yeah.
Oh, your name is Eli Manning. Yeah, go take a seat. I mean, now look at, there are guys who came out year one, and Peyton Manning. Look at year one, like what? 18 million interceptions and like 1 win.
Yeah, literally, he almost had 30 INT. He had like 28. I think 28 INTs. I mean,
they got the trial by fire where that worked out the other way, but more times than not, it doesn't. And that's why teams end up in this carousel of always looking for a quarterback, and eventually you're going to get lucky and find your starter. Why has Green Bay not had this issue? Hi, Jordan Love, first round pick. Go sit on the bench for 3 years. Their plan was probably 2, but hey, all the enemy has a say on the battlefield, right? All plans are good till they hit the battlefield. So, but they had the right idea. In fact, when they made that draft pick, I applauded them for that, doing it the way they did it.
And Ken, you know what's making it even? Oh, absolutely. No, I'm with you on that. And you know what's making it even worse right now? You know what's even proving our point even more right now? The fact that these quarterbacks are staying in college longer and they're still coming into the league and they're still not ready to go like rookie year, week 1, week 2. Now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. But I'll say this, though. There are some quarterbacks, and this is kind of that COVID extra year thing. And now you got the NIL piece.
Yeah.
I will say some of these first-year quarterbacks, like you look at Caleb's draft class, all 5 of them except for JJ. And JJ, it's just because of injury. I don't play-wise, he's been relatively decent when he's played. They are different than the quarterbacks that were coming out of college, say, 7 years ago. They've got that extra year under the belt from the COVID, extension. And I think the NIL has made them kind of grow up a little bit. And actually looking at more as a profession versus maybe, not that they did it, but it changed the view. So
And we'll
this,
have to let it play out a little longer for the whole
Right.
NIL thing too. I mean, this is brand new. You know what I mean? This is only a couple years old.
so,
But
but
yeah,
I mean,
I'm
and look at they're still having their ups and downs. Look at Caleb yesterday, and Caleb's another good example. The Bears yesterday, great win. Finally got a 2-score win. And I called it. In fact, I was off on my score prediction by literally 1 point. But that's okay. Caleb yesterday did not have the best throwing day. The throwing game was disconnected. It never got in the flow, but yet they had the running game going, the defense going. But then if you look earlier in the season, it was the passing game was on point. It was the running game that wasn't in flow, right? And Caleb's a good point of this. He's going through those peaks and valleys right now that normally you would like to have a guy sit on the bench and learn these things, and he's having to learn on the field. The only thing I'll say about Caleb that I really, really like about it is his attitude towards it and the way he approaches it. Like even yesterday in the press conference, he goes, "Look, the passing game was terrible yesterday. I was bad. I wasn't great. I wasn't where I need to be. I need to get to work." And he's so calm about it, and he just does it. Then he goes back to work. Some quarterbacks don't do that. Some of these some of these young quarterbacks don't do that. They get lost in their own hype, or oh well, it was this, that, or the other, and they never regain it. Caleb, what we've seen so far, has been pretty even keel. So he's pretty good. CJ Stroud's pretty good about it too. Actually, for as much crap as I give him, he's pretty good about it.
Yeah.
So it's just these young quarterbacks. Yeah, they should be sitting on the bench more. Like I still keep saying Penix was a mistake. They should have played Cousins this year. They just should have done it. You're seeing it with Penix. He doesn't have that mentality that Caleb or CJ or Jaden Daniels has. He's just not there.
I think he's kind of similar though. Like he's pretty even keeled. It's just that, you know what it is? It's like he's a young quarterback, man. Like you're like you said, you're going to go through peaks and valleys. You're going to have highs and lows. Caleb, highly inaccurate lately. But one of the things that surprised me about him, last year and this year, and I didn't expect it. I was like, this could be an area of concern. But he did carry himself like in front of the media professionally. He never blamed anyone else. He never threw anyone else under the bus. He started every game too. So.
And you know what? Big shout out to Caleb for, I don't know if you saw the jacket he was wearing in the press conference yesterday. That was actually given to a fan who just survived cancer. Because you know how they always bring people to the practice facility during the week?
Yeah.
Well, she had just survived cancer. He signed a jersey. He took his jersey off, signed it, gave it to her. She gave him a jacket. And, most fans, like, you give a player something like that, they're like, oh, thanks. And it ends up in the Goodwill box or something, right? He's like, I'll wear it this weekend. And sure as shit, he wore it to the game and after the game for the press conference.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I like about Caleb. Like, he's very connected with the fans. And he does what he says. Now, I think the Bears offense will get – I was talking to Ken before the show. It's like what I like about this Bears team right now, who's on a 4-game winning streak, tied for the longest winning streak in the league this season with a couple other teams. But they're doing it – they're not one-dimensional. The last 2 weeks, it's been on the back of the running game, right? The passing game has hit some passes when it had to, but it hasn't been there. And the defense has stepped up. Yesterday on the pregame show – even last week we were talking about discussion with Chicago. Do they need an edge? We're not getting sacks, but my contention is, and Jerry Azuma and a couple other Bears players on X were actually saying the same thing I was. Like, I'd rather get turnovers than sacks all day, and we were generating turnovers. So as long as you're generating turnovers, your line's doing what it needs to do. Well, yesterday they got sacks and they got turnovers.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing about the Bears, and then we can open it up to other teams. I don't mean to dominate this whole show with Bears talk. But the thing I like the best, I think, so far this year, it's like, hey, are the Bears executing on the level we want them to yet? No. Do the Bears necessarily have the talent level at all the positions we want them to have the talent level at yet? No. Are the Bears buying into Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen? Oh, hell yeah. Ben Johnson's post-game speeches in the locker rooms are getting me fired up. So that's what I like so far.
Well, and Allen, too, I mean, with his defense. And look at what's his name, the kid that started for JJ that we got from the Vite Queens, Nahshon Wright. I get it. We talked about him yesterday. Ken, I don't know if you watched the Bears game at all yesterday, or Joe, if you did.
I've seen bits and pieces here and
Yeah,
there.
LeSean Wright, like he made two really big plays yesterday, but then he gets burnt on one, and then you had the interception that he kind of got in the way of. That happens, like two defenders going for the ball. It happens. I saw it a couple times actually in other games yesterday. I agree with you to a degree there, Broski. I think we're serviceable. Like there's not, unless there's something viably out there that makes a difference for the Bears long term, we're not buying at the deadline. However, I will say this: I think they got the talent that if they're in the playoffs, they're going to be one of those teams like, who do I really want to face the Bears? They have the talent level, and we're starting to see it. And now that we've gotten some guys back, this week 2 of having almost everyone back on D, dude, they look really good. Now, is it just that it was the Saints? I don't know, because the Saints, if you look at them stat line, they are a pretty tough team post first quarter all season. That didn't make a difference, it seemed, yesterday. The Bears just thoroughly dominated that game. Unlike the Raiders, who thoroughly got dominated by Kansas City. Oh, my God. Was that a drubbing?
Yeah, I mean, the Bears have big play potential on offense and on defense. 16 takeaways through 6 games with absolutely like no pass rush. That's freaking insane.
Well,
Anyway,
that's just it, Broski. They do have a pass rush, and the pass rush is generating those turnovers. Like, just because you're not getting the quarterback doesn't mean you're not making him make
I don't know, man. We can definitely get into the nitty gritty with that one, but in the essence of time, we can move on to the Raiders or Packers or anything.
Well, and the Vikings lose a game, and look at I don't want to pile on Joe with the Raiders because he's having a rough season, but let's look at the Vikings real quick with the Eagles. This is a game that a lot of people picked the Vikings. I took the Eagles, and I said, look, if the Eagles lose this, it's problem time in Philly because it seems like there's a lot of dysfunction there. They did show some of that dysfunction yesterday and let the Vikings back in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, but the Vikings, to their credit, they fought and they played pretty well. I mean, their passing game was actually on point. JJ and if you had him on your fantasy team yesterday, you weren't completely disappointed. And their other guy, who I have on my fantasy team, who happened to be on I had him on the bench, but he put up some good points. I'll beat Woody without him this week. But their problem was the running game. It seemed like the running game didn't do enough for them yesterday. But the Vikings, I mean, it was a good game for them, but tough loss at home. What are they?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not, I would say I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own freaking horn on that one. Ryan Kelly and Will Fries were garbage signings in the offseason. The Vikings O-line is their issue, man. It really is, man. So,
and Wentz threw a couple picks too. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good morning, Billy.
Yeah.
They don't have a quarterback through four seasons at KOC. They still don't have a quarterback, and their line's trash.
Well, no, I think they had a quarterback last year. They stupidly let him
okay.
go.
They haven't. I got it. They haven't decided on their quarterback of the future. I guess is like who they're going with going forward. They don't know. Yeah, I mean, Ken, like you said, they could have signed Darnold. They could have signed Daniel Jones, and they were rumored all offseason to sign Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that was a hot rumor for like 3 months, and they did none of the three. And yeah, they're paying for it.
But you know what, though, Borski, I'll give them a little bit of credit. Like, they said JJ was going to be our guy, and they stuck to that. So
I don't give them credit for that. That's a bad call. I don't give people credit for bad calls.
You can give them call for sticking to their guns at least, on that. And I mean, we can't close the book on JJ yet.
No,
but close it on him yet. Give them time. I mean, but the dude's got to stay healthy. But how is he going to stay healthy with a line that's trash?
Exactly, and I'm not, but I'm just going off what we've seen so far, and it's not a charity, it's an NFL franchise, so it's like, hey, stick by your guy, blah blah blah, whatever. You want to put a winning product out there. In order to do so, you need a quarterback and an O-line. Get some.
So going to another game that I call the game of losers yesterday, because those two teams the Bears have beaten this year, the Loser Bowl in Dallas, the Cowgirls completely destroyed the Skins. I mean, that game wasn't close. It seems like Dallas offensively has definitely come alive. The defense still needs some work, but it did enough. And now
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels might be out more time with a hamstring.
Yeah, and it's mine how times change. How one season to the next. It's I don't know what to say. History kind of repeats itself or whatever. But the Commanders beating the Bears last season kind of sent the Bears into a downward spiral, downward trajectory the rest of the season. With that loss. The Bears beating the Commanders this season, it kind of seems like the Commanders are now going to be spiraling out of control. And it's karma, I guess. I don't know. What do you call it?
It's funny you should mention that. So, Ken, I think you might know my buddy Colin, the guy who's a ventriloquist comedian who does all the little videos. He did the I told you about. So I was talking to him after the game yesterday on X, and I said, kind of what Broski just said. I said, last year after you guys beat us, we went on a 10-game losing streak. Could the inverse be happening to your Commanders this year? And he was like, oh, my God. Because that it almost feels that way for them. But he was smart. He said, last year we were overachieving. This year we're playing like we overachieved.
Yeah, I was going to say, from what we've saw from the Commanders so far this season, granted, Jaden Daniels has been in and out of the starting lineup, but they are not what a lot of people were expecting them to be this year. Because a lot of people, myself included, figured that they were going to fight with the Eagles for who's going to win that division. From what I saw from the Giants, if they can find an actual place kicker, it's going to be them fighting with the Eagles.
Yeah, Joseph, I mean, the Commanders, kind of, I said last year, yesterday for their game was two teams who overachieved last year. So, I'm sorry, Denver was another team that overachieved. They didn't play the Commanders yesterday, but the Commanders overachieved. The Broncos overachieved. The difference is the Broncos are still finding ways to win, and Washington isn't as of late.
Yeah, but Jaden Daniels has been hurt for a good chunk of the season, and that's the heart and soul of their team. So I'm not surprised.
And how scary is it for them, Joe, that Scary Terry, who just signed the big contract, he's been out for, 3 games now? 4 games. And he's, that over 30 wide receiver thing, it's like, is that coming back to fruition?
It's like we had just talked about that, the why they were tentative about giving him a contract. And we all sat here and said, but Terry has a good track record. Like, he hasn't really been injured that much, and he shows up, he's still putting up numbers. And then as soon as he signs the contract, boom, there's an injury and he's out for a few weeks. And yeah, it's not a good sign, but
not a good look.
It's not a good look, no. But I just wanted to say something because, the chat is giving me all kinds of shit about the Raider game. I was under the impression that Pete Carroll was a good coach. And, I still want to believe that. But yesterday's game kind of made me question that a bit. And I'll tell you why. We've gotten our ass kicked by Kansas City before. That's not anything new, right? But it's that the way that we played the game, Genty had 6 carries in the whole game. Now, I get that, it got out of hand early, right? But at the end of the half, he had 2 carries, dude. That's just insane to me, number one. The only way that we were going to be competitive with them was especially without Bowers, is to run the shit out of Genty. And yet Chip Kelly did the exact opposite of that. Then on defense, and this is where I blame Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll is supposed to be a defensive coach. Last year, at this time, the Raiders were a top 10 defense with Patrick Graham in his system. Pete Carroll came in this year. He kept Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator, but made him run his cover 3 system. And now the Raiders are one of the worst defenses in the league. And yesterday, it's like they ran zone. And Patrick Mahomes just picked them apart. And I'm sitting there in the first quarter. I'm like, run man. You're already getting torched in zone. So if you run man and you get torched, then at least okay, well, we were just going to get torched either way.
But there's so much zone being run in this league right now. You watch every game, everyone's running zone.
Right. But this was not a game where you could do that. You took, I mean, literally, you sneezed and it was 14-0, and you're still running zone. Like, bro, you got to change something at least to say you tried.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not saying if we all of a sudden switched to man that we were going to come back. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you got to at least try as a head coach, though.
Like zone work against Chicago, why? Because Max Crosby was generating pass rush, right? So if Max Crosby's generating pass rush, zone works. It creates opportunities. The problem the Raiders have had when they're running their zone is Max Crosby, while he's phenomenal, isn't always generating pass rush. He was playing out of his mind against the Bears. That was probably his best game of the season so far. It was that Bears game. But if you're not generating pass rush or you're not making quarterbacks uncomfortable and making them throw off time, zone gets torn apart. Look at the Cowboys, because like Eberflus is running a lot of zone with the Cowboys. It worked yesterday. Why? Because they were creating pressure on Jaden Daniels, and then they're back up. I mean, if you're running zone and create pressure, you create ball hawking opportunities. Hence the Bears with all these interceptions, because they're running a lot of zone, but they're generating enough pressure to make quarterbacks throw the ball not into the soft spots. And that's what the Raiders want to do. Unfortunately, they're not getting the pass rush that's helping. So a guy like Mahomes, you give him decent protection against that, he's going to pick the zone apart. When the Cowboys played the Bears, they didn't put decent heat on Caleb, so he tore him apart. But that's another thing, though. You can see where offensive lines are playing good or not, though, against these kinds of defenses. Because if they're not generating any kind of pass rush, these quarterbacks pick these zones apart every time. And you look at, like, even yesterday's game, the Green Bay game, because we have to talk about that some. Both teams were running a lot of zone. Both teams had limited success, and when they had their success was why? When they weren't generating the rush. Right now Micah Parsons had a game. He saved the Packers yesterday. He literally saved the Packers yesterday with his 3 sacks, and probably saved my fantasy team in the process. But even with that, the Packers were in a fight yesterday. But you watch those games. You watch that game. You watch when Brissett had good runs, and you watch when Love had good runs. It's when those defensive lines weren't able to generate enough pressure, and both quarterbacks were able to pick their places in the zone and pick them apart. When they generated pressure, they were throwing off, and you had wild throws, and you had stuff that didn't look so great. But that's you take that back to the Raiders, and that's their same problem. Does that make? I mean, it's a long way to get there, but does that make sense?
Yeah,
I think it discredits though Quay Walker and Rashawn Gary, because they still had a damn good impact on that game. With
that
Quay
impact though is there because of Micah. Micah creates that by taking bodies. Without Micah, those guys aren't having that impact.
I can agree with the Rashawn Gary one, but not the Quay Walker one. We've seen even before Parsons get there, he's a damn good blitzer.
Yeah,
and I don't know why at the beginning of this season we were not blitzing him.
But Ken, he's more effective with him there. I'm sorry, you can't say without him there he's not as effective. Everyone on that line is more effective because he's there drawing the coverage he draws.
On the defensive line, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Quay's, that's one of the things he was known for, was how good he was against the blitz.
Right, but look, I'm not saying he's not a beast. I'm not saying he's really good, but the line is even more tied up now than they were before, which gives Walker even more opportunity. That's what we're saying here. So, I mean, Micah Parsons affecting Green Bay. Without him, Green Bay might be 0-6 this year, for all we know, because maybe not week 1 or 2 where he didn't play as much, but like some of these games as of late, like they probably lose yesterday without Micah Parsons on that field, honestly, because. And I said it last week, Arizona is one of those teams, like, don't let the record fool you, man. They played some really good games against some really good teams and lost by another game. Yet another game Arizona's lost by 3 points or less, by 1 score. I mean, their margin of defeat this year overall is ridiculously low between all the games they've lost. They've got to be the best team in the NFL with a losing record. They are a tough team to play. And I said that. Some Green Bay fans are. Oh, we'll mollywop them. No, they're going to give you a fight.
Yeah, even Jonathan Vilma last night, yesterday, during the coverage of the game, he was talking about how good the Cards were and how how they have played really good teams like the Colts in that, and each time they're in within one score, I think most of it, was like 4 points or less. I don't remember exactly the stat that he brought up.
I mean, Dorn, you're not wrong there. The turnovers weren't as big in the other games, but you're not wrong. Look, if your defense isn't getting turnovers and getting sacks, yeah, you're not winning games. And I'm not. It's not a slam on the Packers, John. I'm just saying that without Micah in the lineup, it's a very different defense, and they probably lose yesterday to the Cardinals. He affected the game in a very positive way for the Packers yesterday. That dude, Jay
Especially
Smoot,
that sack on the last drive. That just fucking killed their momentum, dude.
And Jay Smoot did his comment, dude, that's every team, and some of that's just the refs. Because some of these flags, and you go back to the Bears Commanders game, the Rome Odunze touchdown they took away. That was, they were even on the broadcast with the rules analyst going, yeah, that was a bad call. And there have been a couple other calls in other games that you've seen. You're like, or actually yesterday in the Bears game, another one was a Cole Kmet. He runs out there, he sets, he turns around, looks at the quarterback. The defensive player runs behind him, trips over him. He does not initiate contact. He is literally just standing there like, throw me the ball. And they flagged him for the contact. It's like the dude was literally standing there, didn't initiate contact. The defensive player ran into him literally, and he got the flag, an offensive penalty. It's across the board bad in the NFL right now. It always is. And you know, it stays this way until we get with, I hate to say this, with the better teams until the second half of the season as they start to filter out these reffing crews. Because they assign these ref crews like they do the commentator crews for the broadcasts. They put their best broadcast teams with the best teams, right? That's the way this works. You want Tom Brady? Be a winning football team, right? So you want the good officiating crew? Be a good football team. Right now it's a grab bag of whatever as these guys are getting graded. And then by mid-season, they're like, ooh, you know, Joe's crew has got a low rating. Sorry, Joe. But Ken's crew is actually rated pretty well. So guess what? Ken's crew is going to go officiate the game against the Bears and the Packers. Joe's crew is going to get, you know, the two bottom feeder teams in the NFL that week. Because, you know, that's the way it works. And then by the playoffs, you hopefully have good officiating. And it's unfortunate.
Keyword in that sentence was hopefully.
Yeah, well, more times than not, it is pretty good. But they do a pretty decent job of weeding out these bad crews. I mean, look, they're still human. They're going to make mistakes. But there have been some atrocious calls in a lot of games. But there have been some games that have been called phenomenally this year. I mean, you start to see the distinction of the good crews and the bad crews, or the crews that need to tighten it up and get better. I mean, they're just like everyone else. Yeah. Sorry, Joe, you're a bottom feeder.
Thanks. Hey, you know what? I mean, get your yucks in, dude. Like, I can't really say anything to defend him, dude. When you have 90 total yards of offense in a game, like that's.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that.
Oh yeah, I didn't know it was that bad. Damn,
bro, Geno is. And then they actually, like, once the game was out of control, they took Geno out and they put Kenny Pickett in, and he fumbled the first snap and gave up the ball. And so that was a good thing in a way, because at least now, like, the fans that were screaming for Geno's head can realize, no, it actually can get worse.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, that's what I kept saying. Anytime anybody would bring up swapping Pickett in, have you guys not seen his career?
Yeah, no,
this guy has like a highlight reel of butt fumble type of
and
shit.
you've heard me say, like, I say keep Geno in the whole season. Like, it's a win-win for the Raiders. Like, it's not going to result in wins for us, but it's like we're going to get a top 5 pick, or Geno's going to turn it around, which I really don't. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, you know, we're going to hopefully get a quarterback next year. And there's a large class. I'm not going to say it's a good class, but there's a large class of first round quarterbacks next year. I kind of, I don't know.
Geno's
kind of
playing more
class.
like the pizza guy. He's playing more like the pizza guy than a quarterback.
Geno's terrible, dude. Geno's terrible, man. Like, He's terrible.
I mean, there is something maybe, look at, I mean, here's the other thing. Corey's right. He probably needs more weapons.
Yeah,
Here's the other
that's a
thing.
fair argument. Bowers has been out for most of the season. Jacoby Myers is pretty much on the trade block, and he didn't play
and here's the
yesterday.
other thing. It's year one. It's year one of new systems. So, I mean, that's the other thing. Like, look at the Bears. The Bears and the and another team that was impressive this weekend, winning yet another game, New England. They're the flip side of that. They got first-year coaches for their organization, and they're going the other way, and that happens. It's like rookie quarterbacks. Sometimes your rookie coach is like C.J. Stroud, has a great rookie campaign. Matt Nagy had a phenomenal rookie campaign in Chicago. Won Coach of the Year. Bears won the division. But then look what happened in years 2 and 3, right? So, I mean, it's hard to judge them in year one. And some of these rookie coaches, they have, like Matt LaFleur had a great rookie coach here, and he's maintained. So, coaching is like quarterbacks in that regard. As they're putting in new systems and doing new things, sometimes it catches on easily with the new team. Sometimes you go through a lot of growing pains when you're changing these systems. And I would assume that the Pete Carroll system is a shock to the system in Vegas, because it's very different than what Vegas was used to.
Well, his defensive system is outdated, man. He's running the Gus Bradley cover 3 system, and it isn't working. Like last year, Patrick Graham ran cover 2, and we were a top 10 defense for the first half of the season until our whole defense went on IR. Like, I mean, it's not you can't overanalyze, or you can't just analyze it away. Like, the facts are the facts, man. Like, you were doing something that was working. You decided to change it. It's not working. Why not give it a try going back and saying, hey, Patrick Graham, go ahead and run your cover 2 and let's see what happens. Like, the defense can't get any worse. Oh, but yes, it can, because now Max Crosby is injured.
And he's ineffective for the most part. Like, he had one good game.
He was playing hurt, and he's really hurt where he's not going to be playing. Thankfully, they go into the bye week this week, but they'll probably lose to the bye week 34-0 too.
And not to go back to the Bears, but I'm going to, because it has to be said about the bye week. Tell me the bye week being a week 5 for the Bears, and maybe even Ken for the Packers, was not a good thing this year.
For the Bears, it was a good thing.
Yes and no, because we got – okay, well, I'm going to go for an overall yes, because we got the important guys back after it. We got more guys added to it. But then we got a substitute teacher in for a kicker that just hit Green Bay Packers record yesterday. So, hey.
Yeah, that was insane. He was about to sign a contract to be a substitute teacher, and then he goes and knocks out the longest field goal in Green Bay history right before the half yesterday.
Damn.
That was something to see.
Shit. Granted, I'd have to see more out of him. But I almost am ready to replace McManus with him. I'm not on that train yet. I'm just opening the conversation.
It would be funny. It would be weird if this is the only game he ever kicks in for the Packers, and he's a footnote.
Hey, I'm more than okay with that. Then you got an absolute bomb of a story to tell kids when you go in and substitute.
And I'll tell you what, that field goal was the difference in the game for the Packers. Without that field goal, maybe it's overtime. Maybe they lose the game. I mean, that was a massive field goal. At the moment, you thought, okay, cute, they got a 61-yarder before the half, but that field goal had a massive impact in that game.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of long field goals, how about Arbery for Dallas banging out with a 65-yarder or whatever it was yesterday?
Oh, damn, really?
Yeah, he's got the most 60-plus field goals in NFL history now.
My God.
He makes it look easy.
That dude's got Janikowski leg, bro. Like,
he's Janikowski plus leg. And here's the thing with the kid. They asked him how he does it. He's like, I don't kick anything over 45 yards in practice or warm-ups. And you're like, what? He's like, because he doesn't want to change his approach.
PEDs.
Yeah. I mean, remember, this is a kid who was drafted in the first round of the MLS Super Draft.
But clear.
Right? And he didn't pan out in the MLS, so he switched to the NFL. I mean, like I said, it's not rocket scientists. Soccer players have always made the best field goal kickers.
Yeah.
This kid though is just, dude. If he can get on a good football team, like look, if we put them on any of the NFC North teams right now, we'd all be ecstatic. I mean,
and I was gonna mention another team though. Like going into the season, they probably weren't happy they have like an earlier bye week, but I think the way the season's playing out for them, they're probably really glad they had their bye week this week. Is the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah. Oh, for sure, they needed it. They need to regroup. And for the Bears need to regroup too, and then getting personnel back, and that's made a huge impact.
Absolutely, definitely.
It's made the bye week system's always kind of weird, but it made a good impact for them. I think it helped the Packers too, believe it or not, for defensively. It helped them integrate the man, Micah Moore. I tell you what, the NFC North is interesting right now. Record-wise, still the best division in football, even with the last place Minnesota Vikings. Who maybe joined?
What did you say, Ken? I didn't hear you.
The last place Minnesota Vikings.
Oh,
okay. and actually, the Lions might join them tonight.
The perennial powerhouse.
Wouldn't that be a shame?
Because look at tonight's game. I know Lions fans like, oh, we'll beat them. Look, Mbuka might be back tonight. They still got Cade Otton, and they might actually have another wide receiver back tonight. So says this game tonight, I'm telling you, I'm watching tonight. Monday Night Football, sometimes for me, it's kind of like, I'll watch a little bit of it. I hate this dual Monday Night Football thing. I love that this game is the early game at 6 Central. I am actually going to watch this game tonight because, dude, Baker, and I hope this is a good game. I hope this isn't become one of those games where the Lions fall apart or the Bucks fall apart. Either way, I hope this is a good game because last year, when these two played, it was a classic. I think it could be Mike Evans is back tonight. That's what I'm saying. We were talking last week, and Lions fans, but they don't have any of the receivers, and they don't have a running game.
The Lions maybe have one guy for their secondary. Everybody else is out.
And the thing is, like, Baker is a great negator of the pass rush, right? We've seen that this year. And he's one of those quarterbacks. I mean, this is going to be a good game. Look, Baker is one of two quarterbacks, so I say, they do their thing. Baker does Baker things like Stafford does Stafford things. These are two quarterbacks that are unique in the league, not taken away from other great quarterbacks who do their thing, like Josh Allen does Josh Allen things. But the mystique is a little different when it comes to those two, right?
And you know what it is too, Ken, with those guys? They literally make the rest of the team better. Like they uplift the other team. And they're not one of those quarterbacks, well, they don't have a supporting cast. They can't be good. No, they make lesser players better, I think.
And Josh Allen's a part of that group, but but I think that those two are so unique. They have a unique lore about them that the other guys don't quite have yet. They're getting there, but it's not quite the same. This is one, and look, I've got Goff going on fantasy tonight because one of the guys we just talked about is on bye. And it's killed me the last 2 weeks, has Josh Allen. But I mean, I think Goff will have a pretty decent game tonight. He'll get some points, he'll put up some points. But Baker finds these ways to win games he shouldn't win sometimes. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't win this game tonight because they most definitely could win this game. This is one of those ones that can go either way, and we got some morning wood this morning. But I'm looking forward to watching this game tonight.
We
and
have a Woody.
What's up, Woody?
Ridiculous, people.
Yeah, I was going to say the Bucks' biggest two losses this game might be Bucky Irving and Levante David.
Cade Otton should have a good night tonight. I got him going on fantasy too. Oh, and by the way, before we sidetrack, did you know that yesterday is now known as National Running Backs Day? And the irony of it.
I see the nice trench coat that McCaffrey was wearing last night.
But you know what's ironic about, and I didn't even realize that was a thing until Sunday Night Football, and they said it last night. I'm like, good on them, because why should tight ends get a day? But the running backs across the league all had a lot of big games. Think about it. Swift had a good game. Monangai had a good game. Josh Jacobs, even with his injury, had a good game. The running back showed up big yesterday.
McCaffrey put the Niners on his back and carried that team to a win, in my opinion.
Oh, he did.
Dude, the Niners, to me, are a fool's gold team right now. Like, they really haven't played anybody good. And the teams that they did play that were all right, like, I don't know, man. Like, they're 5-2. I'm going to give it to them. They're 5-2. But I feel like if they go up against the good teams in the NFC, they're going to get their doors blown, dude.
It's can you contain CMC, who's got to be a first ballot Hall of Famer at this point, with his career, not just for his numbers, but the longevity for most running backs. I mean, he's got the heart, he's got some hardware, but the longevity and his viability and how good he still is at wrecking games.
It's insane.
If you can,
I will give Mac Jones credit. Mac Jones has revived his career. Like, he's playing good ball. I'm not like taking anything away from him, but exactly. They're doing it with duct tape and Gorilla Glue. How long can that hold up? Like, I just don't. I feel like they probably will win their division and they'll go to the playoffs, but I don't have any hope for them making a deep playoff run. Like, I think the second they play a team like the Packers or the Eagles, they're going to get, or the Bucks, they're going to get killed.
It's duct tape, Gorilla Glue, and some people won't want to hear this. Good coaching.
Excellent coaching, excellent front office. That franchise is doing things the right way. Have to give them credit, man.
Yeah. It's almost better that they didn't draft him over Lance, though. It's funny that it's worked out this way in a weird way. Sometimes the NFL gods have a weird way of making things work.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. A lot of these players, like, they suck on the team and they go on the other teams and they're superstars.
They live up to their potential with their next team, right? Yeah. I mean, and the Bears don't. They're looking like
a football
the
team.
06,
yeah,
85,
no, seriously.
Here we go.
Not 85, but they're looking like a very good football team. That's too far to go.
But does anybody here, honestly, like, is anybody here taking the Niners over, like, the Eagles or
the Eagles? Yeah.
Well, wait, the Eagles, the way the Sheagles are playing right now, yeah, that's a toss.
Yeah, they could. They could.
How about the Bucks?
I would take the Bucks.
A healthy Bucks team.
Nope.
That would be a good game. It'd be a good game. I don't know if they beat the. Now look, I would take the Niners over that. And here's why. It's not for what Ken thinks it is. Just because it's until the Packers can beat the Niners, they're still the Niners kryptonite.
No, I got a major question. Is this during the regular season or the postseason? Because that depends on where I'm going. If it's the regular season, we're kicking their ass all day. If it's in the postseason, I'm gonna need an Ativan beforehand. I was trying to think of the most family-friendly way to say that.
And look, we're seeing in this season kind of what we see every season. We've seen some teams that we all wrote off, like the Colts, who now have the best record in the NFL, the number one seed in the NFL. And they've played some good competition. They've beaten some good teams. We've seen teams that we thought should be good that aren't. Hello, Baltimore. Hello, a couple other teams are not performing well. And then the only division that's kind of living up to the preseason hype is NFC North. That AFC North definitely isn't. Even though the Browns got an impressive win yesterday, even though it was against the Dolphins, but they still got an impressive win.
Yeah. Did it look like to anybody else that offensive line almost was purposefully not blocking to the best of their abilities against Tua after the comments he made last week?
Well,
it seemed like he took some hits that he normally wouldn't have.
Yeah, and they're talking some changes in Miami now. But look, that game was all on their running back. I mean, that kid in Cleveland, they got them a good running back.
Oh yeah, that Quinshon Judkins is the real deal.
No, he Woody, I'm sorry, but he killed you in fantasy because I had him starting.
Man, you ran him off. What the hell?
And that's why I'm going to beat Woody this week. Is just on Judkins had a monster game. Devontae Adams had a monster game, like I called too, for the Rams. And look, they're a team that we thought would be good, and they kind of slipped, but they're looking like they're going to be a legit team come playoff time.
There was a comment earlier. I don't know if it was Jim. Somebody asked, "Did Dart save Dable's job and is McDaniels out in Miami?" Like, I expected Denver's defense to dominate Dart yesterday. Like, and Dart, he didn't get dominated, man. Like, he hung with a really tough defense.
That game.
He's still he's 2-0 at home and 0-2 on the road.
Yeah, but that game,
he hasn't gotten over that road game hump, but he played very well yesterday overall.
And is it really his fault they lost? I mean, the Broncos scored 30 points in the fourth quarter. Like,
Scatterboo is part of that too. Isaac is correct.
Yes.
I don't think Dable's gone. Dable's not gone.
No,
regardless of
Dable's
where-
not
because
gone,
you know
but I
what?
think
At this point,
McDaniels might be gone.
even if they don't make the playoffs, Dable stays. Why? Because of his quarterback and Scattaboo. And if he hasn't lost that, unless he loses that locker room, I don't think Dable's gone because they're going to say, well, the team's going in the right direction. And if the quarterback, the moneymaker, and the running back, the other moneymaker, love him, and the defense are behind him in the locker room, I think they'll give it another year.
Yeah, but I think McDaniel might be gone. I think
McDaniel-
Miami's gonna.
He's talking this morning about how they might have to make some personnel changes in Miami. So that's the first sign of a coach going, I'm on the hot seat.
You guys think it's a lock Stefanski gets fired from the Browns?
No, I don't think he does. I think Stefanski's issues, he's a good coach with a bad team. And the front office knows that and look, whereas the front office, it really hates to say we've not done our job. On some level, they've got to be saying we haven't done our job and give him the players that he needs, because he still manages to keep the Browns in games and make them close. Look, they beat the Packers this year. They've been close in most of their games, the Lions game notwithstanding. He's a good coach. It's not the coaching is not the issue. It's the personnel, and everyone can see it's the personnel.
I could see, based on Cleveland's track record, I could see them firing him. I don't think they should. I think Cleveland is honestly, I think, a couple of players away from being a really good team. Like, they have their running game situation figured out. They have a good defense. They're running with Dylan Gabriel, dude. Like, if they actually spent a first-round draft pick on a quarterback, and I think they need a good, like, a number one receiver. If they could get a good number one receiver and a quarterback, I think they would be a really competitive team.
I think they
Gabriel's
definitely need the number one receiver, but Dylan Gabriel has shown me enough so far to let him ride this out at least this year and possibly next year, because to me, he shows the signs that he could turn into a real quarterback.
Okay. Well, then there you go. So in the first round, if it's me, I'm letting Stefanski, I'm telling him, dude, you need a number one receiver in the draft. Like, get a number one receiver, and you got this year, and we'll see how we do. Like,
yeah,
I don't think the Browns are that many pieces away, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think they're a bad team. I think they're missing a couple of key pieces.
Yeah, and I agree. I always thought Stefanski's an excellent head coach. I mean, you got to give a guy a little more support than what he's gotten, player personnel wise, talent level wise, and he's starting to get that. And like you said, Joe, he only needs really a couple more pieces, and like they could be a really competitive team.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, well, we have to see more of what Dylan Gabriel can do as a quarterback, but he's actually shown some promise for them. I mean, look at. Depending where they're at in the draft, if you can get a quarterback in the first round, okay, maybe if you get a quarterback, you stash him behind Gabriel next year, which they won't do, but they should do, and you get some wide receiver help in there. And look at their free agency is still a thing, guys. I mean, look at the Bears last year. The Bears rebuilt their offensive line pretty much via the draft and free agency last year. So there are a lot of things that the Browns can do to become relevant. And Stefanski is a good coach.
I think it starts with a number one receiver. Like, do that first, and then see what happens.
And actually, you look at the other Ohio team. I think their head coach is safe too. Why? Because you lost Joe Burrow. That saved his job this year. I don't think you're going to see coaching changes in the AFC North. And look since they got Baker, they've looked better. So the Bears coming up. We got the Giants, we got the Ravens next week in Lamar back. Then we've got Cincinnati, and then we got the Giants. The Bears have 3 tough games coming out. They do. I mean, the Bears should win them all, but they've got 3 tough games coming up. But I think almost all those coaches are safe. I think McDaniels is probably the next to go, if anyone, in Miami. And there's going to be a surprise coach too. There is going to be that surprise coach that we're not tracking. Like, why are they going to fire him and he's going to get fired? There is going to be that coach this year.
Aaron Glenn.
I wouldn't think that would be a surprise. But I don't think he should be fired though. Like, the Jets this year are snake bit, dude. Like, they just, no matter what they do, they can't get a win.
Yeah.
Hold on. Did you just say this year? Like, they haven't been like the past 5?
Well, Yeah, but I guess what my point was is like I haven't seen the Jets play this hard for a coach in a while, and yet they still can't get over the hump. And
Well,
and
here's
it's
the
like
problem.
I don't think it's that they're that bad. I think it's just sometimes the ball bounces a certain way,
Sure.
dude. And
Sure.
this year, like
there's
every
some of
bounce is
that.
going against them, dude.
Like Joe's not wrong. There is some of that for them. They've had the ball not bounce their way, but also they've had some big injuries. Losing Quentin Williams for a couple games, he was the heart and soul of that defense, completely killed their defense. Their offensive line is still crap. I don't care that, whether it's Justin who got benched at halftime, Fields, or whoever else they want to throw at quarterback. They're not going to have good quarterback play until they fix that offensive line. Because look, even for those who hate Justin Fields will admit that Justin Fields is even worse now the last couple of weeks with his Jets O-line than he was with a bad Bears O-line. He can't even run the ball. So at the point where Justin Fields can't even run the ball, your offensive line is complete trash. Because at minimum, you should be able to get a running game out of Justin Fields. And you're not even getting that in New York right now because your offensive line is that putrid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to go against you on that one, Ken. Justin Fields is hot garbage. The guy is a fucking bum. Like we gotta let it go with Justina. Their O-line was actually highly touted like going into the season. It's just amazing. Wherever Fields goes, the O-line sucks. It's the O-line's fault. No, Justin brings the team down because he sucks.
But Broski, out of bare minimum. Out of Fields, you should get at least a running game out of Justin Fields.
There's no minimum expectations
get a running
for
game
Fields.
out of him. That offensive line is so bad. Justin can't even run, and that's the one thing he's good at.
It's the same story for his third team. Everywhere he goes, it's busted,
dude, I don't care what quarterback you throw back
busting.
there. That offensive line is.
Yeah, I mean, Bustin
Broski,
Fields.
I would just
busting.
challenge you to go back and watch that Jets versus Denver game and tell me that the Jets, I don't care how highly touted their offensive line was, go back and watch that Jets and Denver game.
Dude.
That's the Jets offensive line.
I know, Bill.
Justin Fields is so bad they benched him for tire rod.
Bill, why are you
Tire rod should be working
at
at Jiffy Lube changing tires. That's where he should be. He should be at Meineke.
Okay, hold on, bro.
No, he needs to switch to running back.
Yeah, Bill, why are you telling me things I've already said this morning? I've already mentioned that they're not firing him, that McDaniels is saying that there's going to be changes.
Yeah.
So he's not being fired right now, but that means the seat's getting warm. That's the telltale sign, Bill, that a coach's seat's getting warm when they start talking about, we need to make some changes with personnel on our team. They're not firing him. Of course, ownership's going to say they're not firing him. They always say they're not going to fire him. But his seat's definitely getting warm in Miami.
Yeah, I'm thinking this one's going to be just like the David Gettleman. Oh, we didn't re-sign him just to trade him. Oh, we're not firing him next week. He's fired.
But I don't think AG gets fired though, because I do agree with Broski that, or Joe, that these guys are playing really hard for him.
Yeah.
Their offensive line sucks. I'm sorry, when you came and get Justin Fields running the ball, your offensive line is terrible.
Justin Fields sucks. They need a quarterback.
That's the one thing he's good at, is running the ball, and he can't even do that right now. And you know what? Who was it who said Justin Fields should be a running back? You know what? I had that spot. I mean, you know what?
The next Derrick Henry.
I honestly think if he switched to running backs, he'd be one of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah, and you know what he would be if he became a running back? He'd be like a certain guy in New Orleans, and they love the guy down there, the gadget guy. Justin Fields could be that running back that all of a sudden, next thing you know, he pulls up and throws a 65-yard bomb to a receiver because you just thought he was going to run the ball. I mean, what a great weapon he could be as a running back who once in a while will throw the ball.
Yes and no. I wouldn't want some team to Taysom Hill him to where he's just a gadget guy. I'd rather him be a running back with a couple of passes sprinkled in super occasionally. I don't want to see one or two a game even.
Right, but Taysom,
like once every quarter.
But Taysom Hill's the only thing you could compare him to at that point, so that's why I did that. But hey, guys, Fields in the Wildcat offense would be ridiculous for teams if they made him just run back. We're about out of time. Tonight, the Lions.
The next Jim Brown.
The Lions, the Bucks, the big showdown in Detroit. Who will become victorious? Do the Lions join the Vikings in the basement? We'll find out, and you can watch JB talk about it next on the Huddle Sports Network. Have a great day, everyone.